Hello student, in this video lecture we are going to discuss the muscles of respiration. Muscles of respirations which are help to respirate process in the inspiration and expiration. These muscles are grouped into two categories. One is muscles those are responsible for excretion. These are known as respiratory muscles, and those the muscles are for responsible for inspiration are called inspiratory muscles. These muscles are help to move move the air from into the lungs and out from the lungs. These muscles are, you can see in this diagram here, on your left side is the on right side is the inspiratory muscles and left side is expiratory muscles. Inspiratory muscles, you can see here, these are grouped into two categories. One is principal inspiratory muscles, another one is accessory inspiratory muscles. Principal muscles, which muscles are involved in the inspiration maximally, these are the diaphragm and external intercostal muscles. Principal muscles are external intercostal muscles and diaphragm. What does they do? When you are inspirate, the muscles dilated the lung size, they dilated the space within the lungs, that can decrease the volume within the lungs, that can decrease the pressure within the lungs. That's why the decreased pressure in the lungs can helps to inspirate. Atmospheric air having the greater pressure, the air comes into the lungs. These principal muscles are external intercostal muscles and the diaphragm. You know that here it is, your diaphragm is a dome shaped structure that is below the lungs. It moves downward and upward, not upward, downward, and when it contracts, it moves downward, and when it is in relax, it moves upward. This movement of diaphragm helps to maintain the inner pressure of the pleural cavity, that helps to inspirate or expirate. When it moves upward, it also participate in expiration. During the active breathing, your diaphragm move upward and pushes the air out from the lungs. When it moves upward, it decreases the pressure within the pleural cavity it increases the pressure within pleural cavity. The pressure is greater than the atmospheric pressure, then helps to movement of gases through the lungs to the air. Rather than these principal muscles, in the inspiration there is accessory muscles are there. You can see here that these muscles are, some names are here: sternocleidomastoid muscles. Sternocleidomastoid muscle, you can see in this diagram, it is the sternocleidomastoid muscle that it elevates the sternum. It pulls the sternum upward during the inspiration. When you are going through the inspiration, it pulls the sternum upward, that helps. इसकी वजह से क्या होगा कि आपकी थोरेसिक कैविटी का जो वॉल्यूम है वो इंक्रीज होगा और वहाँ पे प्रेशर डिक्रीज होगा. Rather than, there is another muscle, Sclenis group of muscles. These muscles elevates your ribs, that also increase the surface area of the pleural cavity. And one another muscle is pectoralis major, that helps to that pulls your ribs from the posterior side and helps to gain the gain the maximum space within the pleural cavity. Another muscles are there, muscles of expiration. Same like that, there are principal muscles such as diaphragm and intercostal muscles. These are participate principally into the expiration. When these muscles, intercostal muscles, moves downward and diaphragm moves upward, that decrease the pressure, that increase the pressure within the lungs in the pleural cavity. That pressure is greater than the atmospheric pressure, so that the air goes out from the lungs. Rather than that, the muscles of abdomen, muscles of sternomastoid muscles, these are also participate in the movement of gases out from the lungs. Next we studied how does your respiration is regulated. Your respiration is regulated in the two forms. Respiration is regulated in two forms. One is known as neural mechanism, another one is known as chemical mechanism. Yeah, we can say that nervous system control and chemical control. In the nervous system control, first we studied the nervous mechanism. What is the nervous system mechanism? Nervous system have the expiratory and inspiratory center, or we can say it, and your nervous system having the respiratory center in the medulla oblongata and pons. Here it's your brain, here is midbrain, medulla oblongata and pons. It is having the respiratory center, medulla oblongata and pons having the respiratory regulatory centers, which receive the impulse from the different respiratory muscles and perform their function. When your respiratory muscles taking the information from the medulla oblongata and pons, they stimulate and perform their function for the inspiration or expiration. In the respiratory center, these centers you can see here in the second most, respiratory center in the medulla oblongata and pons, that collect sensory information about the level of oxygen and the carbon dioxide in the blood and determines the signals to be sent to the respiratory muscles. जैसे ये signals respiratory muscles के साथ पास जाते हैं, they stimulate these respiratory muscles, provide respiratory movement. Either these movements are for the inspiration or for the expiration. These inspiration and expiration center. Inspiratory center is situated in upper part of medulla oblongata. This center is also called dorsal group of respiratory neurons. It is formed by the nucleus and tracts of solitaries. Functions it concerned with the inspiration. Expiratory center, medulla oblongata, is situated in the medulla oblongata anterior and lateral to the inspiratory center. It is also called the ventral group of respiratory neurons. It is formed by the neurons of nucleus, and this having the function it's initiate during the expiration. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट आता है केमिकल मैकेनिज्म. हेयर यू कैन सी ओनली दैट द chemoreceptors play important part in the chemical mechanism. The chemoreceptors are the receptors which give response to change in the chemical constitution of blood, like hypoxia, lack of oxygen, hypercapnia, increase amount of carbon dioxide, increase hydrogen ion concentration that may decrease the pH. Chemoreceptors, these chemoreceptors give the information to the respiratory centers, and these respiratory centers act on that for the inspiration and expiration. So some terminology is there. You must understand that hypoxia means lack of oxygen, lack of oxygen. Hypercapnia, increase amount of CO2. Increase hydrogen ion, that may decrease the pH. So it's all about the muscles of respiration and regulation of respiration. If you have any doubt, you can ask me anytime. You must keep your notes in front of you during study. That may helps you to understand easy. Thank you very much.